Hello everyone and welcome to Merlin's Manor. Today I'm going to be reviewing Rolling Realms, a roll and write game from Stonemaier Games. Let's start out by talking about how the game plays. Each person has 3 realms in front of them, and 2 dice are then rolled, and you write a number die in each of the 2 realms. Sometimes placing these dice will give you stars, which you're going to mark off down here at the bottom. And sometimes they're going to give you resources, which are going to be coins, pumpkins, or hearts. And you're going to mark those off on here, which you can use by crossing them off later. Coins can be traded in for an extra dice. Hearts get you an extra use of one of the dice rolled. And pumpkins allow you to raise or lower the value of a dice. Typically, you can only use the extra dice in that third realm that you hadn't already used. However, spending 3 pumpkins can allow you to use a dice somewhere you've already used this round. This could even allow you to use 4 or even 5 dice in a single round if you stored up enough resources. Of course, it's going to take a lot of pumpkins to pull that off. Now, you'll play through 9 rounds with each set of realms, and you'll go through 3 sets. At the end of each set, you'll count up the stars for victory points, and unused resources are going to give you a tenth of a victory point. So you could have a score like 14.3 if you got 14 stars and had 3 resources left over. Now, your resource board then gets cleared after each set, and you start fresh. At the end of the game, the person with the most victory points wins the game. Let's go ahead and start our review off by talking about the ease of access. Like most roll and writes, the overall game is fairly easy to learn, and most things that you need to know are written out for you right on your player boards. The hardest part is learning how to play each realm, as each one has different rules, and some are complicated to wrap your head around than others are. Also, some are harder to play than others, and some combinations are much harder than other combinations in order to do well. And so you may get a combination of cards that doesn't give you a lot of resources, and you get resource poor, or you may get a ton of resources coming in. And so there's going to be different difficulty based on those different combinations. Overall, I would say this game is not too hard to learn, and the learning curve for the various realms can be overcome quite quickly. Let's now talk about the art and components. As far as roll and write components go, these are top of the line for this kind of material. Instead of paper components, you get these reusable dry erase boards for the various realms, as well as these ones here for keeping your resources and your scores. And you also get these dry erase markers, which work well. Comes with these cloths for erasing that work really well. The sheets themselves look good, and they give you this nostalgic feeling for the different games they represent while being functional for gameplay. Honestly, everything I would expect for a roll and write game. It also comes with 2 of the largest dice I have ever used, which are very chunky and have this unique look to them. They really stand out from the pack. I enjoy these dice. You don't always want these big dice for a game, but for this one, it's fine because you're only using these 2 dice here, and then everybody can see those dice really well. All the Stonemaier games are represented in this game, and they keep coming out with other realms too from various other games. Let's talk about the gameplay now. The gameplay is fun and puzzly, with some great combos to be had if you plan out the use of your resources well. It can be very satisfying to start snowballing things by using 3 or 4 dice in those later rounds due to the careful planning of your resources. And while the game is simple enough to learn, it has a real satisfying difficulty to really being as efficient as you need to be in order to best score points with the limited 18 dice you're going to be using, plus whatever extra dice you can make by using resources. Also, being careful to be able to place dice in the realms you want to place them in, because only 1 die per realm except when using 3 pumpkins. And so you may wind up rushing 1 to the end, and then it's like, well, you only have 2 that you can use from then on. Or you may have perfect dice that would go twice in this realm, but you can't do that unless you have those pumpkins. Now, each realm represents the game it is based on, well, mechanically speaking. And so it adds even more to that nostalgia for the games that the realms are based on that we enjoy playing the fuller, bigger games of. It's really cool how each realm boils down the core mechanics of the game it's based on. It feels like you're playing 3 mini games at once based on some of your favorite games. Another neat thing about this game is that it can be played remotely. It was designed originally as a print and play that could be played over Zoom during the pandemic. And so you can play this with your friends if you each have copies of it over Zoom or some other video format like that. Now, one thing to keep in mind is this: just like many roll and writes, it plays very much like a multiplayer solitaire style as you share the dice, but you're each doing your own thing on your own sheet with no interaction. For me, this is not a problem, but for some, this may be a deal breaker. Now let's talk about the solo gameplay. The solo mode is really well thought out and executed well. You have these different cards that also kind of help you be able to play it without having to go back to the big rule book if you don't have to. And you're basically going through 18 rounds where you are given specific setups, special rules, and goals. If you fail to obtain the goal, then you play it again, taking a hit on your overall score. You have 4 chances to make it through, and after 4, you mark your score as a 5 for attempts. Each hole has a par on it and how many attempts it should take, and overall you're going to try to beat the game in less attempts than the par for the course, which is 36 attempts. Now, the various solo challenges are interesting, and they offer a different feel than just the regular multiplayer game, as it has a different puzzle, not just by the realms that are in play and the randomness of the dice, but also from the setup and the rule changes with some challenging goals along the way. The one downside to the solo mode is that it's limited to the original realms. It would be cool to get some additional holes that utilize the new realms as well, since there isn't really a true solo mode for those realms. You can play them in a beat your own score kind of fashion, but even then, with the randomness of the realms and how some combinations will make higher scores easier and other ones not so much, it really wouldn't feel like a proper beat your own score even. The new realms really just need solo challenges like the original realms. I really hope that they will come out with some of those as well. In fact, I think they're coming out with something. I know that I've heard of some sort of extra solo challenges coming out soon. And so I'm looking forward to trying that out as well. I really enjoy this game, both multiplayer and solo, as far as the gameplay goes. Now let's talk about theme. Now, the theme is somewhat of a hodgepodge since you are using so many different games, but it certainly works if you have a familiarity with the games the realms are based on. It really does feel like you are playing mini versions of the various games that you know and love, and for that reason, I find the theme enjoyable and fits well into this game. Now let's talk about replayability. This game has a huge amount of replayability due to the many different combinations of realms that can come up that are each going to offer a different puzzle to solve, mixed with the randomness of the dice rolls and how dice rolls will vastly change the way the game plays. Add in all of the various new realms that are coming out for just a few dollars a pack, and the replayability just keeps growing and growing. If you enjoy games that give you a new puzzle to solve each time that you play, then you're going to get quite a bit of fresh plays out of this game without it feeling the same anytime soon. And with the price point of this game, this means you are getting a great value in price for the amount of plays that you'll likely get from this game before it ever becomes old. It has a lot of replayability, especially if you're buying those new packs, but even the base game is going to give you some good replayability there. Final thoughts. I rate this game an 8 out of 10. I would place it as probably my 4th favorite roll or flip and write game. If you do not like roll and writes, I don't know that this one would change your opinion on roll and writes. However, if you do enjoy roll and writes and you enjoy Stonemaier Games, then I highly recommend this game both as a roll and write in general and for the way it will remind you of all the other Stonemaier games that you love. I really just love how each realm captures the essence of a different Stonemaier game, or now quite a few other games that have been included with all these other different realms. We have Isle of Cats in here. We've got Rolling Realms itself has one. We have Terra Mystica. See, we got Libertalia as a new promo pack for Stonemaier Games. We got Feast for Odin. We got Smitten, another new Stonemaier game. Honey Buzz, all these other that have been Stonemaier games that have been here from the beginning. So all these different promo packs are just great. This game is great as a solo game as well as a multiplayer game. I highly recommend it. It's got great replayability. It really, if you enjoy Stonemaier Games, it's going to give you that nostalgia for the other ones. And the components are everything you would expect, and maybe even a little bit more. I hope you've enjoyed this video. I hope it's given you something to think about for Rolling Realms, whether it's a game for you or not. And as always, I will catch you in the next video.